I wasn't. I'll be making that motion.
No, yeah, I think it's just way easy to move here.
No ethics violation. It was just a suggestion. Yeah. That's like guinea pig surgery. Never heard of it. I've come a long way from where I, grew up in rural, agricultural Wisconsin, and the idea would be, oh well, okay, throw in the manure spreader. Just outside of Green Bay, Deep here, Wisconsin. Yeah. Oh, nice. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good. Yeah. It's different. Yeah. That's what I say. I brought my wife, but she was from Ohio. But even then, she was from Canton. But then when she came back to Green Bay during, we went to a Packer game in December, and she was like, "What is this?" I'm like, "Yeah, this is just what we do here."
Ashley, are we ready? All right. I will go ahead and call our meeting to order. We'll go ahead and start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, can you get a roll call?
Commissioner Jones,
Here.
Commissioner Fay,
Present.
Commissioner Blazer, Commissioner Anderson,
Yeah.
Commissioner Bianchi,
Here.
Alternate Johns,
Here.
Vice Chairman Munn,
Here.
Chairman Simon.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. All right, so we are looking at the agenda. We have a few continuances. In the consent, we'll start there. We've got DR 21-128, Floor and Decor, and then DR 21-159, Warner Commons, MSP. In the non-consent, we have DR 21-125, Cooper Hawk Winery and Restaurant. And I don't see that we have anybody here to speak on those, so I'd make a recommendation to move those to consent unless somebody wants to hear that item. Not seeing any, we'll move that to consent. So we're going to move item number 6 up to consent. And then I've got a couple of residents who wish to speak on item 7, which is Z21-113, Gilbert 13. So we'll leave that on non-consent. And then we have a couple continuances, DR 21-153, Portillo's Hot Dogs, to continue to May 4th. GP 21-07, Valor Christian Center, continue to May 4th. And ZR 21-09, Valor Christian Center, continue to May 4th. With that, I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Thank you, Chairman. I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
I have a motion to approve by the Vice Chair. Do I have a second?
I will second that.
I have a second by Commissioner Fay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. The agenda passes. With that, we'll move to communications from citizens. At this time, members of the public may comment on matters within the jurisdiction of the town, but not on the agenda. The commission response is limited to responding to criticism, asking staff to review a matter commented upon, or asking that a matter be put on a future agenda. Do we have any communications from citizens present?
Chairman, I received a communication from citizen by email that I would like to read into the record.
Okay, thank you.
The resident's name is Sabrina James, and she wishes the commission to know that she's extremely concerned about the lack of restrictions for investment companies purchasing and renting homes to Arizona residents. Build-to-rent communities and out-of-state and out-of-country investment firms are buying Arizona homes in bulk, creating a housing shortage and inflating the cost of rents. What is being done to protect Gilbert residents? You cannot comment on this because it is not agenda-sized, but I did wish to bring this to your attention.
Okay, thank you, Eva. Do we have any other communications from citizens at this time? All right, not seeing any. We'll move on to report from Council Liaison. And this evening, we have the distinct honor of having the mayor here, Mayor Peterson.
And Simon, I don't know if you can hear me. Funny story. Your liaison, Councilmember September, called me on Monday and he said, Mayor, I can't be at the Planning Commission Wednesday night. And April is National Volunteer Month. Would you consider coming and sitting in my place? And I said, well, Councilmember September, surprise, I was already going to come to the Planning Commission for National Volunteer Month because I wanted to come in person and thank you for sharing your time with your community, for volunteering to be part of the Planning Commission. I know what it's like to sit in your seats. I know the cases that you hear. For those of you that might not know me as well, I spent 14 years plus on the Planning Commission with a couple of you and some in the audience. And I appreciate all that you do for your community and the time that it takes away from your own families and your own lives to be here as appointed volunteers for this town. And I have a little gift for you. I don't have anything else to report to you tonight. Just thank you very much for all your time that you give to the town of Gilbert.
Excellent. Thank you, Mayor. Awesome. Thank you. All right. With that, we're going to move on to the public hearing consent item agenda. All items listed below are considered the public hearing consent calendar. The commission may, by a single motion, approve any number of these items where after opening the public hearing, no person requests the item to be removed from the consent calendar. If such a request is made, the commission shall then withdraw the item from the public hearing consent calendar for the purpose of public discussion and separate action. Other items on the agenda may be added to the consent calendar and approved under the single motion. I'll take a motion to approve the consent item agenda unless anybody has anything they'd like to pull off.
Not looking like there is, Chairman. I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent item, including item number 4, DR 21-128, Floor and Decor, item number 5, DR 21-159, Warner Commons MSP, and of course, item number 6, DR 21-125, Cooper's Hawk Winery and Restaurant.
All right, I have a motion to approve by the Vice Chair. Do I have a second?
I would second that.
I have a second by Commissioner Fay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Not hearing any. The motion passes. Move on to the public hearing non-consent items. Non-consent public hearing items will be heard at the individual public hearing and will be acted upon by the commission by a separate motion. During the public hearings, anyone wishing to comment in support of or in opposition to the public hearing item may do so. If you wish to comment on the public hearing item, you will fill out a public comment card, which I have 3 of them here. Indicating the item number of which you wish to be heard. Once the hearing is closed, there will be no further public comment unless requested by a member of the Commissioner Board. With that, we will go to item number Z21-13, Gilbert 13, and Kristen, I believe you're up.
Oh, I feel really tall right now. All right. Good evening, Chairman, Commissioners. The rezoning I have before you tonight is for... Wait, do I get a clicker? Okay. The rezoning I have before you tonight is on Lindsay Road, just north of Galveston. Click it. The applicant is requesting to rezone approximately 12 acres of undeveloped land currently zoned as SF43 to SF35. The applicant is not proposing to deviate from SF35 standards and will not have a PAD overlay. All standards will adhere to SF35 standards set forth in our Land Development Code. And then, go back one, sorry. All right, and then shown here are the development standards we have for SF35 lots. The main differences we have between the SF43 that it's currently zoned and the SF35 that the rezone is proposed for will be the required lot width decreasing to 140 feet instead of 145 feet, and the side setback would be reduced to 20 feet from 30 feet. The minimum lot size is also being reduced from 43,000 for SF43 to 35,000 square feet for SF35. A virtual neighborhood meeting was held on June 14th of last year. A few of the surrounding neighbors did show up to ask questions and gather information. During the meeting, there wasn't a lot of concern voiced during the meeting other than the desire for single-story only homes and, if possible, to have the western boundary of the site to maintain those SF43 standards to provide a little bit of a buffer between the existing homes that are over there. Next. And then, no, is there a development plan slide? That one, okay, thank you. The next slide here is for reference only. It's not included in the rezoning request tonight. The applicant is proposing to develop a 13-lot subdivision on the currently vacant parcel. We held 3 application meetings and we worked extensively with the applicant to land on this concept plan for their development. The actual layout that they're proposing will be formally reviewed as part of a preliminary plat application after the rezoning. And then it's important to note that originally the applicant did want 14 lots, but due to the shape of the parcel, minimum lot dimension requirements, the access and roadway requirements from both traffic and fire, 14 lots just wasn't working. So they did drop a lot to create 13 conforming lots. And then all right, and then with that, staff is recommending approval of the proposed rezoning from SF43 to SF35. And this concludes my presentation. Thank you for your time. I would be happy to answer any questions that you have.
All right, any questions for Kristen at this time? Kristen, the only thing I have a question of clarification with regards to the size. You said that it's decreasing from 40 feet to 30 feet wide. Is that correct?
The side setbacks. So for SF43, it's a 30-foot side setback, and for SF35, it's a 20-foot side setback.
Okay.
And then the minimum lot dimensions for SF43 are 145 feet wide. For SF35, it's 140 feet wide.
Okay. Yeah, Commissioner Jones.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. Kristen, can you just comment maybe on staff and why we are supportive or staff is supportive of this change?
Sure. Recently, I believe it was May of last year, the 2 lots just to the south of this vacant parcel were also rezoned to SF35. I don't have them highlighted, but it's the ones that are directly on the corner of Lindsay and Galveston there. So it's kind of a buffer between those 2 lots and the vacant parcel that's undeveloped right now. We tried to work out a layout with the SF43 and it just wasn't working with costs for making money back and stuff like that. The SF35 lots just seem to work better with layout. We don't recommend that it go any lower than that.
All right. Any other questions? Commissioner Fay.
Kirsten, the development plan that was not included, we're not voting on that tonight. That's not entitled in any way. We're only talking the density or the
Correct, because they're not asking for a PAD or any deviations. The development plan wasn't required in the application. This is just a rezoning from 43 to 35.
I mean, you almost can't do anything different. So it was almost like this one develops itself.
We went through 3 application meetings and various different versions of layouts, and this is the only one that works.
There were a few that were kind of frightening me, so I wanted to kind of caution mental images that were, I still was going to vote on the zoning, but it lends itself. Thank you.
It'll get formally reviewed during a preliminary plat application after this.
And the developer knows that even though they've given you this stuff, none of that is getting entitled, even the informal entitle.
Yes.
Kind of quasi, well, you agreed, because we're not agreeing to any of that stuff, right?
Yes. It's just the rezoning.
All right. Anybody else? Commissioner Bianchi.
Yeah, Commissioner Fay actually asked my initial question, but I guess my follow-up would be, is this all planned to be developed at one in a single phase, or are they going to sell off the lots, or do they know how they're going to do that with the plat? Have they said?
Jessica, do you know?
Jessica Sarkisian at Front Planning. I'm double checking, but I believe they're going to be sold off as semi-customs individually. However, the entry and all those improvements to the roadways and stuff would need to be put in place first, obviously.
Okay, thank you.
Vice Chair.
It does have a presentation after this as well.
Okay,
She'll be able to answer further questions if you have specifics.
perfect. Vice Chair.
Yeah, Kristen, I just wanted to confirm that in the report that they submitted on the second page, they appear to have the house on the southern portion there highlighted as part of the parcel, but it's just the strip between the homes. Is that correct?
Yeah, before the rezoning came in, they did go through a minor land division adjustment. That corner lot, the bottom corner lot, was part of this parcel, and it's no longer part of that parcel.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
All right, any other questions? Yeah, Commissioner Johns.
Thank you for the presentation. If I'm correct, both zoning, the SF 43 and 35, they both have a 40-foot setback in the back, correct?
Yeah, the front and the rear are both 40 feet
So
for
the
both of those
impact
districts.
to the neighbors, because everything's back lots facing the existing neighbors, they'll all be pretty much the same on each zoning, correct? Is that
Yeah.
okay? Yeah, I don't see the problem with that then.
All right, anybody else? All right, does the applicant want to add anything to that?
Thank you. Jessica Sarkisian with Upfront Planning. Is this on still? Sorry, I'm just trying to talk to the owner too as for information. So yeah, as Kristen mentioned, this is going to be this is being looked at, and we did have several meetings with them. We did attempt originally to come in as a SF 43, but due to the right-of-way dedication for that internal road to actually get around the cul-de-sac and those, it made the lot smaller than 43,560. So with as you'll see on the site plan, obviously it's not going through at this time, but we did go through several iterations with them to try to get it, everything with the fire and trash and streets and everything like that. We're still working through the process with them, and that is pretty much the only layout you can get with a single street in with a cul-de-sac and around. And we aren't attempting to deviate any of the setbacks or anything like that. We're just trying to make it work and get in there, because the property owner to the south did sell it off, and currently it's vacant ag, which was previously used, and right now it's just we're trying to deal with some other issues because of the ag is not being used, so we're cleaning that out all the time because it's dying as it's getting warmer and stuff like that. But is just wondering if you guys had any questions for me.
All right, any questions for the applicant? No questions. All right, thanks, Jessica. At this time, we'll go to our citizens, and I've got a few of them here that wish to speak. I'll start with, if you guys all want to kind of make your way over to this side of the chambers. Did I call them chambers? I don't know, right now. We'll go ahead and start with Jason Gibbs. And Jason, you say you wish to speak, but you don't have marked whether you're opposed or in favor, so we will let you go ahead and go first. Please state your name and your address.
Jason Gibbs, 1937 South 141st Place, Gilbert. So we're in the lot directly behind where lot 7 is, and that lot is the narrowest lot and the longest lot with the oddest shape, as you can see. I completely disagree with the zoning as far as lot size, and changing is not to make a developer money or not make a money. We're wanting to stick with it as much as we can, because whether they overpaid for the lot or not isn't my concern. But what is what the impact it has on all of our surrounding properties with our borders. That lot is really narrow, so yes, a 40-foot setback to the back, might not seem like a lot, except for the house has to be further back because the lot is narrow. So the design of the subdivision directly affects all of the neighbors. So for everything else, I know we're not voting on that, but on the paperwork they sent us, they have it down as like 13.2 acres. Up here it's like 12 point something. So we have a discrepancy. The lot, the design that you guys put up here versus the one they sent in our mail is another different design. So you're asking us to say yes or no with something that we don't have the complete information on. So for that reason, I'm going to say no.
All right, thank you. We'll go to, is it Ryan Boheim? Bamey. So Ryan, go ahead and state your name and your address, please. And Ryan wishes to speak opposed to the item.
My name is Ryan Bamey. I live at 1920 South Lindsay Road. It's right there at the north side of the entrance of where the subdivision is coming in. I actually have an 1.25 acre piece of property there. That's why we moved to Gilbert, to have acreage. And you know, going down from that, you know, for us, it's like, you know, it's taking away the values of what we had at this time. And the restrictions and the setbacks, one of the biggest concerns I have is the entrance into this proposed subdivision, because I have 15-foot right-of-way, and so then the neighbor that just purchased the home of the person that deceased that made this all happen, Glenn, basically if they build the roadway to be the 50 feet that they showed and proposed to us in the letters that they've sent us, that's going to put it very close because they can't encroach upon my property. So it's going to go toward their property. And so I'm concerned about the width of the road that's going to be able to come in there to get the access. So the more people we have on land, the more traffic is going to be coming in there. And I'm right there at the beginning of all that traffic. And so I'm concerned about that. And, you know, if they would keep it to larger lots, there'd be less density. And that's one of the reasons that Gilbert has been the type of place that we've wanted to live, because it is where we can have spread out, and we can have the setbacks and the distancing that we need to have for the safety. You know, our children are grown, but I have grandchildren, and so it's really a concern for me what they're going to do with the entrance, because I've seen 2 different drawings where they say, oh, we're not going to take all that, but there again, all the drawings I've seen has been 50 feet setback for the road. And so that's a concern, how they're really going to enter in there. There's a lot more traffic. And so less density would actually impact the traffic. And I realize that the fire department, police department, the services have to get in there. And so we have to make it so it works, because they're coming right, my neighbor to the south, the Templetons, and I'm to the north. That's all that traffic's going to go between us. So that's 2 of the concerns that I have. So that's why I'm voting no.
All right, thank you. And then we've got, I'm sorry, is it Perry Castanis? And go ahead and state your name and your address, please.
Thanks to the commission chair for allowing me to speak. My name is Perry Castanis. I live at 2139 South Porter Street, very close to this proposal. I actually own 2 homes in Gilbert. Going to move out of one here very shortly, move into the one I just gave the address for. We purposely bought this home because of its size, because of the neighborhood surrounding it, and the acre lots that are in this particular neighborhood. I echo completely and second the words that were said by the 2 previous gentlemen before me. I won't take any time to reinforce those, but I would like to speak just for a moment about precedents in the house that was sold just south of this proposed property and subdivided into SF35. The planning sign for that went up on the Galveston side of the street. And if you know Galveston at all, that's really, main traffic on that street is for junior high school parents to pick up their children. I think it was poorly advertised, and I was very disappointed to hear that that was approved. We bought in this area, as did my neighbors buy in this area, because of lot size. We bought here for the space that was spoken of. We bought here for the lifestyle that is afforded with it. And because there is no guarantee that this won't be two-story or other higher properties in here, I'm concerned as a neighbor. There's another property immediately south of the junior high school that recently sold, also part of the estate that sold the property in question. And I would hate to see them come forward and say, I think we need quarter acre lots here. I'm fervently asking you to reject this idea. We need to maintain SF43 size, as has been the case for eons, instead of basing this off some precedent of one home that was done just recently. Thank you.
All right, thank you. At this time, do staff or would the applicant like to respond to any of the comments that were made? Jessica, if you want to come up.
Thank you. I forgot to do my presentation from before. So actually, I'll go through some of the things. But one of the comments was about density. We're not talking about the site plan here, but our site plan shown is 1 unit greater than what is currently allowed on the SF43. It is 1 unit. And it is being changed. Like I mentioned, we did come in with the SF43 originally, and the issue is that we cannot create a private easement for the roadway. It needs to be fully dedicated. So, Ashley, if you can go, so here's the site. If you can go to the next, see, we are maintaining the existing general plan designation. If you can go to the next one, this is the existing zoning. Next one is proposed. I try to match the colors, they're kind of weird. I was looking up the addresses, where people are living, and I think I just wanted to point out one thing is that one of the most recent neighbor I gave his address, and his zoning is SF7, and is on the southeast corner of Galveston and Lindsay. So it's not. I don't believe. I mean, they're saying they don't want smaller lots, but yet they're living on the smaller lots. It's actually smaller than what we're proposing. If you can go to the next slide, I have a site plan. So here is the site plan. It is a 50-foot at the entrance, and it drops down to a 28-foot wide dedication. This was per city standards. We've gone through several times with the city transportation department, worked with them on it. It's the 50-foot is the requirement that they ask for. As you can see, its majority will be will not be impacting the northern properties. It's going to be on the southern side. They're electing to do this dedication. That's what they want to do. We're going in there and for, the 13 lots, you can see that some of them are even greater than 35,000. You've got 246,000, 38,000, another 37,000. So that is the minimum. We are exceeding it. The lots are much deeper. They are 223 feet deep and 150 feet wide. They can go up to 197 feet. So we are exceeding in every way for the SF35 standards. We're just not going in for a PAD. We don't need, because this is what fits in there. So when it comes through for a formal site plan, I wish we could have done it at this time, so you could have been going through at the same time and have done it, but nothing fits in there if you can't go bigger, or like more lots, more density in there, it won't fit with the SF35 standards. Because you have to meet a minimum of 35,000 square feet. We're not deviating anything like that. It would always be exceeded. So it is a one lot change from what is allowed in there. We're just not allowed to. We just can't get the SF43 because of the driveway dedication. There was some other questions on lot 7, and that's in the back. That's that big pie-shaped piece. That's just the way it parcels out. Obviously, when we come back through the site plan process, they could revise lot lines or something regarding those rear lots to make, we're just having to maintain that 140-foot width, which are detailed on there on those pie-shaped pieces. So that's how it goes out. But then you can see it's also 220 feet deep, 150 feet deep in the middle. So I'm not sure what else. If there's any other questions, I think I addressed the neighbors' comments and questions. It, this is I mean, Ashley was there and Kristen was at our pre-tech meetings or pre-app meetings with technical. We did hammer it through several times trying to get things to work, and then had to end up reducing the zoning to get to the dedications. I mean, that's primarily it. We wanted to go in with the easement, and that the County of Gilbert does not accept roadway easements for that. So that's basically where we're at.
All right. Anybody have any questions? Yeah, Commissioner Jones.
Yeah. Hey, thanks, Jessica. I guess a couple questions. One is you commented that this fits the general plan. My understanding of the general plan of this area was that it was 0 to 1 dwellings per unit.
Mm-hmm.
And so with this, we're at 1.1 or
1.05 actually, because
so
this
it
is
does
13.
Exceed. I mean, it's a rounding error, but it does exceed technically, right?
The town, we went through that questions with the town staff, and they decided that it was within the general plan category.
And then I guess the second thing, so the math works that you're asking for 13 lots instead of technically the math would work out to 12 lots. However, to have an access road, you wouldn't really be able to get 12 lots there anyways. So it's not really apples to apples. You would probably get 10 on the SF43 when you were mapping it out. What could you get?
The problem became lot sizes and depths. So the lot size, I don't remember it was what we were getting with 12. It was, I forget what it was. It wasn't, because we were having issues with the water and sewer and retention. Just different things. I can't remember what the comments were, but all that stuff will be coming through at the next phase site plan. We'll have all those studies done.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a one lot, even though it's going to 35,000 RS 35, it's a one lot difference. When it comes to traffic or when they're concerned about access points, it's a one lot.
Do we have
from what is currently from the SF 43 you would have which is 1 unit per acre, and we're at 1.05 is what I'm trying to say.
But you're telling us you couldn't build 12 lots either. That's what I heard.
I don't remember why it was like we're trying to get the roadway in and putting dedicating roadway and everything like that with the 12 lots. I don't remember if it worked out financially, if it worked out, and putting all those sewers in, putting the dedicated roadway and losing space there. But we could get the 12 lots. We could get the SF43 lot if we didn't have to dedicate the roadway. If we did an easement over top of those lots, those would be 43,000 or greater.
Okay, thank you.
All right, other questions? Yeah, Vice Chair.
Well, and my question's more for staff, so I apologize. But are we even talking about the number of lots? I mean, I feel like we're spending an awful lot of time talking about this plan versus that plan, but I don't believe that what the business at hand has anything to do with the number of lots.
Tonight is just about the rezoning.
Right. And so regardless, if we approved it, they would still have to come in with a site plan, and that would then be when that number of lots is.
Yes. And This is just for reference only. During the pre-application meetings, there was originally 14 lots, and they don't fit with that many lots. No matter how it was configured, they don't fit. So this is just kind of to show that 13 lots is really the maximum that will go there.
Okay, good. I just didn't want to, muddy the waters, because I don't think we're actually talking about here. We're approving the lots. We're saying you can come in with a plan, and whether or not that plan meets what our needs are at that time, we can then deal with that. So, thank you.
And then with the rezoning, there's not a general plan amendment associated with it either. So they have to stay within that 0 to 1 dwelling units per acre with the rounding. They can't exceed that because we didn't apply for a general plan amendment.
Right. Okay. Good. Thank you.
Right. Commissioner Fay.
2 questions. The second one is, well, I'll reverse the order here. 2-story buildings are allowed under the SF43, aren't they? So they could put 2-story buildings there now by right.
Yes.
So we're not, in terms of the 2-story issue, that's not here now, and that's not going to be changing. It's the exact, they're allowed to put 2-story buildings if they want to now. They could, if we say no to this, they could put up 2-story buildings right now, couldn't they?
Yes, Commissioner Fay. They are both in both zoning districts, SF43 and SF35. They are allowed to be 35 feet tall.
That's kind of what I thought. So that's really not an issue given the decision that we're making.
Right.
Okay. But the Now the second question, the right-of-way width, the 50 feet, do you have the room to do that? I mean, as a private entity, you can't do a taking, so you've got to have the width already in your inventory, already fee ownership of whatever property. So there isn't any need to take anyone else's.
So Commissioner Fay, during our pre-application meetings, they were also going through the minor land division because that bottom right lot was originally part of this vacant piece, and they subdivided it off. And during that review, it needed to be established that they were still meeting setbacks and that there was enough right-of-way. And
I misunderstood. I
entrance.
thought when you talked about them pulling those parcels off, it was the ones that are to the south of this. You're talking actually the one that's on here. Point.
Southeast. Yep. Yes.
Okay. And so you are keeping whatever you need out of that parcel to get the 50 feet, and you still make the setbacks for whatever piece of.
Yes. They adjusted the lot line to include that 50 feet requested by traffic during our pre-application meetings.
And I've got a fire department question, but it's going to come up with the lane, but it'll come up when we bring the rest of this stuff forward. It's beyond the scope of the rezoning. Thank you.
Yeah, Vice Chair.
Thank you, Chairman. And so, in the same light of talking about this driveway, when I look at this drive on an aerial map, which I don't know if it was in the packet, it appears as though the neighbor to the north has a driveway that actually comes off of that drive. It does not come off of Lindsay Road. And that's so. Then I guess with this going in there, his drive and all of that is still going to be maintained. You know, I'm just trying to make sure I understand how, with the way that this land is, and maybe that's more for Jessica to speak to, but it appears as though his driveway comes in, and if I'm not mistaken, that would mean his driveway goes through your land to get to his home.
So if on the assessor's parcel, I don't know if you can see it, you can see that it's been dedicated. That's actually parcel line. So that's full part of the piece now. When this goes through the town, like we mentioned before, currently there's easements for most of those sites on that area. That will become dedicated. So he will then access his drive through a dedicated Town of Gilbert roadway on that piece. So that becomes part of the town's roadway.
Without the dedication, those two homes have easements.
They just have easements right now.
Use that as, in fact, that entire thing as an easement.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you.
So as I believe what he was mentioning is that the property to the south had currently owned that where the easement was. And so currently he's still using it. And we're not getting rid of his easement to access. It's just going to become a public roadway for everything.
Understood. Thank you very much.
All right. Any other questions? All right. Not hearing any, I will close the public hearing. We'll bring it up to the dais for conversation, discussion, or a motion. Anybody like to start? Commissioner Bianchi.
Sure. Thank you for the questions and the presentation, and for the citizens speaking as well. I look at this, I think it's a very reasonable infill request. They're maintaining the general plan classification. As Commissioner Johns asked, the 40-foot is consistent with the rear setbacks. They're not asking for any deviations. It's meeting the site development regulations. So, I mean, we don't see that a lot, so it's kind of nice to see that being brought forward to us. But given all those reasons, I would support this.
All right. Thank you. Anybody else? Commissioner Anderson.
So I just, for me, I know it's not the density thing, but looking at the site plan, I mean, as the applicant pointed out, they're only requesting one additional lot. If they kept it as 43 per the math, they can only get 12 units, 12 sites on there. If they go to 30, SF 35, with the math, they're allowed up to 15 lots to get up there. But as you can see on the site, there's no way they're getting 15. I think 13 they're maxing out on. So they're only requesting one additional lot on there. So I think this is a good area for an infill project that I think fits in well with the surrounding area. So that's my 2 cents on it.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yeah, Commissioner Jones.
Yeah, I personally don't see the justification for changing the zoning here. The general plan says 0 to 1. We're exceeding this. I mean, I know it's slight, but we are exceeding it. The majority of the other surrounding properties are is also zoned SF43. I don't think we're doing an apples to apples comparison when we're talking about 13 versus 12. I mean, technically it can be 15 versus 12 or 13 versus realistically what could be built on an SF43. So I think it is more than just one extra lot. So for those reasons, I don't support this.
All right,
If you do the math, they can't get any more lots on here. They're maxed out with 30. They're showing 35,000 square foot lots, and they have a couple that are above that 35,000. So mathematically, they can't get a 14th or a 15th lot on there. They're maxed out at 13. It's not like they're going to do a bait and switch and come in for a DR and say, hey, you know, we were able to squeeze 2 more lots on here. This is what we're going to propose.
But I also don't think they could build 12 SF43s on this either.
Correct.
So to say it's one extra lot is not accurate, in my opinion, because it's realistically probably 9 or however many you could squeeze on here at SF43.
If you're comparing SF43 to SF35, it is one additional lot. That's what the request is.
It is, but I think if you pencil it in, we don't have this here, but I think we get it, and my cut tells me it's the same. If you pencil it in and you try to meet the roadway standard, I bet they can't fit 12 in. If you go to 43 and have to have the roadway, I bet 12 won't fit. I bet there's going to be...
Well, that's why they're requesting 35, is to get it to all work.
Right. But that also undermines the we're only going from 12 to 13 part.
Yeah.
All right, anybody else?
Yeah, I understand and I empathize with the neighbors, but I do believe that this request is not outside of the realm. I think that what they're asking for is due to the fact that the shape of the parcel, and it is an infill piece, does happen to bode itself to a requirement of something smaller. And yes, you may not be able to get the lots, but as I sit here tonight, I'm not voting on lot numbers in any way, shape, or form. I'm simply voting on, does a density change where the front and rear setbacks that would have any effect on the neighbors, as well as has to be passed off by traffic and everything else, and all other things that staff has said. So I don't personally find any major flaws, and I think that I would be in favor of it.
All right, thank you. Anybody else have anything to say? If no others, I'd entertain a motion either way.
I can go ahead and make a motion.
All right, Commissioner Anderson.
For the reasons set forth in the staff report, move to recommend approval to the Town Council Z2113, Gilbert 13, as requested, subject to conditions.
All right, I have a motion to approve the case. Do I have a second?
I'd second that.
And I have a second by Commissioner Fay. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
And those opposed? And we have a nay by Commissioner Jones. The motion passes. All right, with that, we will move on to administrative items. Administrative items are for the commission discussion and action. It is to the discretion of the majority of the commission regarding public input requests on any administrative item. Persons wishing to speak on an administrative item should complete a public comment form indicating the item number on which you wish to address the commission.
I'm sorry, Chair. Can I interrupt for a second? Do we have to acknowledge the continuances of some of these cases?
Oh, yeah, I think we do. All right, so we moved them up to consent, but...
Yes, if you've moved them up to consent and you approve the consent agenda, you're good.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Yep. All right, so are there any administrative items? All right, not seeing any. We'll move on to Planning Commission minutes. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the February 15th special meeting. Yes.
I'm sorry. I was just informed that the motion where you did the consent only called out items 4, 5, and 6. It didn't call out the full consent agenda.
Okay, so I would entertain a motion to approve the continuance of item 8, DR 21-153 Portillo's Hot Dogs, item 9, GP 2107 Valor Christian Center, and item 10, Z21-09 Valor Christian Center, all continue to May 9th at this point.
Thank you, Chairman. I'd like to make a motion to approve item number 8, DR 21-153 Portillo's Hot Dogs, item number 9, GP 21-07 Valor Christian Center, as well as item number 10, Z21-09 Valor Christian Center.
All right, I have a motion by the Vice Chair.
Is that a motion to continue or a motion to approve?
I have a motion to continue.
They weren't even asking.
The 3 items. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a second by Commissioner Johns. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. With that, move on to administrative items. Didn't see any administrative items, but do we have any administrative items? No? All right, then I'll take a motion to approve the Planning Commission minutes from a special session February 15th, 2022, as well as the study session and regular meeting of March 2nd, 2022.
Thank you, Chairman. I would like to make a motion to approve the minutes from the special meeting of February 15th, 2022, and the study session and regular meeting of March 2nd, 2022.
I have a motion by the Vice Chair. Do I have a second?
I will second that. He's very enthusiastic about that.
Yes, he is. I have a second by Commissioner Bianchi. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Go ahead and... I'm sorry, what's that? Oh. With that, we'll go ahead. We don't have executive session tonight, and a report from chairman or members of the commission. Anybody have anything to report? Yeah, Commissioner Anderson.
Nothing to report, just a question. How's the progress across the street coming on the town council chambers and all those fancy offices that's been in construction for seems like some time now?
I guess I can include that as part of my report to you tonight. We don't have an end date for the project across the street. And I should have said I appreciate all of your patience since you've been moved over here to this lovely location for most of this year. And please continue to attend these meetings here in this building for as long as we need you to. And it could be much later this year than we expected. But I think probably you all know that there are issues with construction and supply chain and great things like that. Besides the fact that we found a couple other things wrong inside that building, which I really figured we would once it was opened up. So thank you for your patience. Thank you for the question. And I hope to see you all over there soon. Hope to see myself over there soon.
All right. Any other questions, announcements? All right. Eva, do you have a report for us this evening?
Thank you, Chairman. I'd like to echo the mayor's sentiment, thanking you all for your volunteering for our Planning Commission. I know it's a lot of work, and we really appreciate what you do and that you review everything thoroughly and ask questions. So we appreciate that. I'd also like to announce that we have 2 new employees in the Planning Division. We have Erica Prater and Jasmine Carter. Jasmine started on Monday. Erica started 2 weeks ago. They are our new planning techs. So they're the ones who get our packets ready and get them sent to you. So if you receive anything from a Jasmine or an Erica, they are our 2 newest employees, and we're very happy to have them on board. We also, hopefully in a week, will have 2 advertisements out, one for our senior planner position and one for our principal planner. So we hope to welcome 2 more members to our planning team shortly.
And we're advertising for a transportation planner because we just lost our transportation planner to a West Valley city. So lots of changes here in Gilbert.
It's very lonely over in the planning offices.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. Thank you. With that, we will go ahead and adjourn. Have a good evening, and we will see you next month.